Hey, what's going on, everybody? Alex with you here again. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for tuning in. So today I got a couple of things to show you guys real quick. I'm gonna try to make this video a little bit shorter than some of my other ones, but first let's go ahead and get started. And I wanted to share with you guys this cool picture that I got just recently. I was looking to get something to hang on my wall, something chess related, and so I was browsing on the internet. I found some things. There was like Bobby Fischer, and then I found this. So this picture says, "You don't stop playing chess when you get old. You get old when you stop playing chess." And so I felt like that resonated with me quite well. Part of the reason why, in the first place, I wanted to choose something chess related to put on my wall is we don't really realize this, I guess, that often, but things that are permanently fixated, like pictures on the wall, they have an effect. Okay, let's say you take a bunch of pictures, you go out and you take a bunch of pictures with your camera and you store them somewhere in your hard drive. How many times are you going to see those pictures? How likely are you going to be able to see them again? You might see them a couple of times, say, man, that was a great trip or whatever. But let's say you take one of those pictures and you print it and you put it on your wall. I got a couple of pictures of me and my wife going on some cruises way back like 10 years ago, and every time I go brush my teeth, I will inevitably see the picture and it makes me smile. So when something is placed on a wall, you can't help but be able to see it periodically, and just by having that on the wall permanently, it will have some kind of an effect. Same with this. I wanted to get something chess related that'll help to sort of keep me motivated in as far as playing chess. And this one, I read it and I felt like, yeah, I mean, that's so true. You don't stop playing chess when you get old. You get old when you stop playing chess. And interestingly, if you just read the upper part, it says you don't stop playing chess, and then read the bottom black part, it says you don't stop playing chess when you stop playing chess, and then the red part says when you get old, you get old. Which, I mean, all those sentences are, they make a lot of sense. But the picture in the middle seems to be a reproduction of some kind of original painting. Not sure, probably from the 1800s. If you guys know of the actual picture, leave a comment below, let me know what it is. But it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty nice. I purchased it online. I'll look up where I bought it. This particular size, I think, was 24 inches across by 36 inches long, and it's a relatively good size. If I stand right next to it, it's pretty big. I feel like it's big enough to be able to, like, you can hang something like that on the wall. They had, I think, a bigger size, but this was a decent size. I think I paid for it approximately $120 or something like that. Shipped really nicely. They had the option of me framing it, but I figured that frame was more expensive, and I bypassed the frame, so I just got it on canvas. Now, canvas, see, it's not just like a poster, it's actually a canvas, so that's really nice that, something like that's gonna last longer, especially if you take care of it. And I mean, if you place something like that on the wall, it's not likely to get beat up or anything like that, so that's kind of cool. The second thing I want to show you guys is this really awesome little demonstration board that I got from House of Staunton. And I looked at the demonstration board for some time beforehand, and I thought this is really cool, but the practicality of having a demonstration board is not all that, not for most people, unless you're teaching or demonstrating chess moves or some kind of chess theory. Like for a regular individual, what's the usefulness of it, of having a board like that? Well, they had a sale, and as they pretty much always do on House of Staunton, I think I ended up getting this particular board for about maybe $40 or so, maybe even a little bit less. And well, first and foremost, when I hung it up here in the living room, the kids, at least for the first couple of days, were really quite interested in this, and they kept playing with the individual jewel pieces and putting them in different places. So I figured, hey, that's exposure. Exposure is great, for the kids that age. That's great. But then I thought to myself, you know, besides having a demonstration board like this for teaching purposes, what would a person want a board like this for anyways? Well, a couple of things. Just like the picture that you see over there, a demonstration board like this, it's useful. And let me, before I get to the usefulness part of it, let me just kind of show you the details of this and kind of talk to you a little bit. So this board came with all the pieces that you see here. Each individual piece is plastic. They gave you the opportunity to have it in clear plastic. As you can see, there's a sort of a clear see-through, versus I think they had one that was more opaque or like white. But I chose clear because I don't know, I just ended up choosing clear. So the board came with all the pieces that you see here. It also came with 2 extra queens. So you have the light queen and then the dark queen. So, and then you have these extra little tiny stars. And you get a total of, let's see, 6 stars. And basically the stars are, if you've seen people do reviews of different like openings or whatever, you know that the stars are used to basically map out certain positional advantages, or whether or not like certain pieces. Now, like, you know, if you're talking about, for example, taking out the pawn, then you could say, now we're controlling these squares, and then, you know, that type of thing. Basically, you're kind of mapping things out, and so that you will allow your viewers to understand more of what you're trying to explain to them, just like I'm doing with this video. The board itself came rolled up really nicely, and on both sides, both ends, we see that it comes with these little wooden sticks. The top wooden stick has 2 holes that were made for this little rope that you see on the top. Now, the board itself right now is sitting kind of low. That's why I'm sitting where I am, but you're gonna need to hang it up pretty high if you're going to use it for demonstration purposes, like in a classroom. You probably want to hang it up a little bit higher, a little bit more towards the ceiling, so that way when you do that, because the rope itself kind of hangs down somewhat, so you'll need some space, and you need to consider how high you would like to put the screw in, or whatever it is, the hook that needs to hold the board, so that way when you stand, you can actually be standing and showing this. But here we are. The pieces themselves did not, I think they came in like a little plastic pouch or something like that, but once I've unrolled it, the first thing I noticed is once I kind of hung it up, the board itself was still a little bit warped, so to speak, but I let it hang for a while, and now it's flat, pretty much as flat as it's gonna be. If I ever wanted to transport this somewhere away, I would likely to just roll it up and put it back in the pouch. The bag came, and the pieces, they don't have an individual like pouch or carrying case for the pieces themselves, so you just kind of collect them and throw them back into the bag. I kind of sort of wish that you had the opportunity to have some kind of a storage container for them, but it is what it is. Also, if you roll up the board, you want to roll it pretty tight, because the storage container is not that big, and I don't think, if you could roll it with the pieces in there, but if you were to do that, I don't think it would fit into the storage case. I hope you guys can see this, but this was the actual storage case for this board. It comes with it's like, I guess it's vinyl, and it has this little zip up at the top, and you just roll this up like you would like a poster or something. You put it in there, you take the pieces too, you drop them in there, and then you have the little strap on top, so you can just carry it across your back or carry it like a suitcase or whatever. That's that. Here's another thing that I wanted to bring your attention as far as what this board is like, and the little details that maybe some of you guys might not even notice, but when you're playing the game, there's no other pouch anywhere on the board that you can take like, let's say you're in the middle of the game, what do you do with the pieces that have already been captured or that are extra? I wish that on the back of this, or maybe on the side somewhere, we had some kind of a pouch that you could just sort of, maybe if they had a pouch that you can just like, maybe on the side here, like an extra pouch that you can just put the extra pieces or something, some kind of a little temporary storage place. Otherwise you just have to figure out, maybe you keep them somewhere in a drawer or something. So that's that. And if I kind of lower this down to show you guys, then if you see, this is now sitting like right next to the floor. I just wanted to show you guys that this distance right here, I would probably say it's maybe about a foot. It's just the way that the rope is, it kind of hangs that way. I think that if you wanted to shorten the rope, you could just sort of go around here and tighten it one more time. You could make it shorter. But as it stands, when you buy it, you got this sort of a slack. So if you wanted to bring it to like your height of your head or height of your torso, you would need to put this up somewhere pretty high. So that's that. And the pieces themselves are pretty sturdy. They don't bend really all that much. So when I was looking at this online, and before I even purchased it, there were a couple of different designs. I think that they had one that was more of magnetic, and then they had one that had these little pouches. The little pouches here are like plasticky, and they have this opening here and an opening from the top. But you're not gonna really put them this way, even though you could, I guess. They're not gonna come out. You could just put them this way. But I think that the way it's meant to be placed is you'd place them like this, so that gravity-wise, you wouldn't have any issues with the pieces falling out or anything. One of my reservations is when I saw the way the construction of these little pouches, I figured, well, are you gonna be like having an issue putting it right where it needs to be? Like, are you gonna be doing this? Not really. I mean, you see this? They go in each individual pouch without really any trouble. My question would be, if you were to use this like regularly in demonstration purposes, would these pouches get like all bent up over time, and then would you have any trouble with these pieces staying in, or would the pieces want to like hang out like this? You know, what's it like as far as down the road? What can we expect? So because I've only had this board for about a month, I'm not really sure. But the practical aspect of having a board like this, if you're not a teacher, if you're not an instructor, if you're just like a regular person like me, what kind of usefulness can you get out of a board like this? Obviously, if you're an instructor, or if you work in some kind of a school, this is great. You bring it with you. You can show a whole class about certain opening theories or whatever. You can do anything you want, and it's nice because you don't need to have a projector. You don't need anything digital. You can rely on this. You don't need an internet connection. You can just come in, you can set this up and ready to go. The school might have lights out or whatever. You open the blinds. You don't need to rely on anything. It's a very dependable option, okay? But so as a teacher, as an instructor, this is great. It's a demonstration board. You can demonstrate. You can also, if somebody's playing a game, you can always follow up and show people what the game is like. So instead of showing them on the computer, you could show it in real life. You can just, you know, if two people are playing and you're just sort of broadcasting it, you can do something like that too. But from a regular standpoint, from like you, me, just if you're not a teacher, what do you need this for? I mean, what's the usefulness? Well, the usefulness could be in playing correspondence games. So if you're playing a game where I'm not a big fan of correspondence chess, because I feel like if I'm gonna play a game of chess, I want to start the game and I want to end the game in one sitting. I don't want to have 24 hours to make every single move, because usually by the time the opponent makes a move, I'm somewhere either in the store, waiting in line. I forgot what the game was even about. 15 hours later, what move? What was my intention? What was I thinking about doing? Some people love correspondence chess, don't get me wrong. Some people, that's just the games that they enjoy playing. To them, and it works better with their time schedule. It works better because they've always done it, and good for them. And if that works out for them, then this may be a board that might be useful in a situation where, hey, you can have this on the board, on the wall, And you could just follow up and play the correspondence game. And the opponent makes their move or whatever, and you make your move, and then, you know, the opponent makes their move, you make your move, and then the opponent makes their next move. For example, let's say the opponent goes for, you know, something like Rui Lopez or whatever. Well, you don't have to move right away unless you want to move right away. But let's say you got 24 hours to think about what you want to do. You can have this hanging on the wall the way that it's hanging now, maybe a little bit higher, but you could be doing dishes, you could be cooking, you could be cleaning the house, you could be doing a whole bunch of other things. If you made the opponent's move, you could refer to it by looking at the wall. You don't necessarily need to make the move right away. You can just sit there and think about, okay, the opponent made his move. I'm just gonna sit back and think about what I want to do, refer to it, just like you refer to the picture periodically. You got 24 hours to make your move. You want to make a good move. Nothing's pressuring you. You got plenty of time. So make the opponent's move and refer to it, just like you would to a picture. I think that's one relatively successful application of having something like this hanging on your wall. Additionally, you could have a really tough chess problem or a really tough chess puzzle, or maybe you're learning, you know, some kind of maybe you're going through the end game manual of some kind, you know, and it's really hard positions, and you're trying to understand or trying to somehow see what you may not have picked up on before. You set up the position and you're like, well, they're expecting me to see the balance or to see the weak area, or, you know, I've played a lot of those, not played, but I went through a lot of those chess lessons on chess.com back in the day. And when I started getting into like the strategy where the rating is like starting at 1900, like 19 to 2400 or something, a lot of it, like my head would start hurting, because a lot of it was like, how did Bobby Fischer see that move or whatever? How did he see that advantage? And it's about seeing more than, you know, you guys understand. It's about seeing the balance. It's about seeing the weak color complex. It's about seeing all those things and then making the right decision. And sometimes when I'm staring at that computer screen and I feel like, I gotta make that move. Whereas here, if you were to set up that position, maybe you didn't need to make them move right away. So you can just have it hanging and refer to it a couple of times a day, and maybe eventually it'll come to you. Maybe. But either way, I think this is a pretty cool thing. I don't expect a lot of people wanting to go out and get one, but you just wanted you guys to feel like there might be other reasons for having something like this. The notation is written from bottom up and from right to left. Same way as you would expect a notation to be written if the light pieces were on the bottom and the dark pieces were on the top. If, however, you might have also came to the same question, if, however, you were, let's say that you switched the pieces around and you wanted the dark pieces to be on the bottom, light pieces to be on the top. What if you were playing for the dark pieces? I mean, you could be playing like this, but what if you are playing for the dark pieces? Wouldn't you want the dark pieces to be from the bottom? Because that's the way that we're used to seeing it. Yes, you could do that, but then your notation would be screwed up, so you couldn't, I mean, you would have to think of everything upside down in a sense. Would it still be possible? Yeah, I mean, I think it would. You just need to switch the queen, and I guess you would need to switch them, since the queen likes its color, so the light queen would end up going here. And then you would still be okay, I think. It's kind of dawned on me, because there's no holes here on the bottom sticks, so you can't flip this upside down. Even though the pouches are made to be, technically, you could put it this way, which means that theoretically you could make holes in the bottom and flip this upside down. But if you were to do that, the notation would still be messed up. So maybe it doesn't make sense to do that. I mean, in a situation, we're still okay. I guess light square on the right side, both ways, we should be okay. We should be okay. It's just notation would be screwed up, but it's possible. And then lastly, another really what I feel like really significant reason for having a board like this is also very important, because when I started initially making videos for this channel, and I was you know, super enthusiastic, because I still am. But you know, I had a lot of people that would write to me and say, you know, what you're doing is fantastic, and thank you for making these videos. And there's not a lot of people. I've had people say, you know, I wish I could start a chess channel or something. And I would be very encouraging and supportive of those people, because I ultimately, and I've already said this before, I'm so happy when people decide upon watching my channel or upon watching other chess channels to try to start their own chess channel, because that's fantastic. Because here's the thing, you know, not a lot of people out there are comfortable in front of the camera. Not a lot of people are comfortable speaking, or you know, having this type of a monologue thing. But a lot of chess players know really well, or at least to a degree, they have some proficiency in the actual chess game. And having said that, they might actually be, well, they might actually want to share some things. And sometimes, you know, maybe you guys don't have a way, or don't necessarily want to hook up like your chess.com account and have two cameras or a camera on your face, kind of like what Hikaru does and most of the other people do, you know, to where you have like a computer screen on one side, your face on the other. And you know, maybe something like this, you set up a camera, you set up your phone on the tripod, and you want to share your knowledge of chess. Maybe you want to start a channel with, there was that one bald guy that was doing that for a while, I guess. I don't know if he's still doing it, but it's authentic. When 99.9% of the other people online are doing it the usual way, where they're just doing screen record, when they find a channel where somebody's actually doing this in reality, it's a lot more authentic, and it's unique, and it's just, I feel like it's nice, because it gives a little bit more of a homey feel. You know, maybe it's just me, but either way, I feel like this is a really nice way of maybe encouraging people to start their own chess channel. Not a chess channel where they talk about chess merchandise, but a chess channel where they talk about chess theories. A lot of us have a lot of great information that we could share. Getting yourself a board like this, and maybe, you know, getting a small and expensive tripod, just figuring out how you can even hook up your phone or whatever, setting it up into the other side of the room, kind of like what I'm doing. That's all really you need. And, you know, just talk about chess and upload it. So this may make it realistic for some people. With that being said, I will conclude this video with kind of showing you guys, I've mentioned in the previous video that I've been playing quite a lot of chess games, and I've been making blunders a lot, so I've been kind of getting a little bit like scatterbrained, a little bit in the fog. Also, part of, like, I don't know what my playing style is, but I feel like sometimes I'll play a bunch of games and I'll do well like on one day, and like I think one day I did like 20 games and I lost 3 games, and then I lost 3 more on time. So I felt like, wow, that was good, because I won the other 14 games, and I thought, it's a pretty good record, you know, overall. Only lost really 3 games. The other ones I was winning, but I lost on time. But then on some of the other days, I'm just like, you know, lost. Now, how many times can you lose until you close the computer down, until you turn everything off, and you're just totally like... Sometimes I get to the point where I feel like I can just keep losing and losing. The more times you lose and you're okay with it, the better you are, because then winning feels better. Anyways, so I wanted to conclude this video by showing you guys real quick that I've been sort of coming out with this opening, and for the white, I don't know why, I don't know if it's effective. I used to play the, back in the day when I was playing in high school, I loved the Queen Gambit. And so the Queen Gambit, you guys know this type of a Queen Gambit type of deal, or, you know, the Queen Gambit. No, actually it would be like this. And then I haven't played the Queen Gambit for a while, but then you come out here, so that way you protect the pawn, so you can take the pawn on your next move, and then, you know, they'll do something like this maybe. And then you can either open up with this, and you can take, if you can take, a lot of times they'll start opening up the side here, and they're trying to get their queen out before you get your queen out. But because you've opened up this pawn, you're allowing their queen to come out here. So you're sort of doing this number. And especially if you already have the bishop here, you're creating quite a lot of strength on this side. And I mean, a lot of people, they don't do queen gambit accepted because they realize from the start it's gonna be, you know, this type of a dilemma. And then if they do queen gambit denied, which when I play for the dark pieces and I start with, when I see somebody pull out this maneuver, okay, and then I see them doing this, I usually go ahead and do the queen's gambit denied. And what it ends up happening with the queen's gambit denied, what I notice a lot when I'm usually playing the dark pieces when this happens, is they kind of leave the pawn here for a little bit and then they start developing the pieces. But for some reason this creates a kind of a closed game for me, because all their pieces end up coming out and stuff, and their pawns coming out and everything. And for me, it's hard for the dark pieces to come out. So I really don't like when somebody's playing light pieces, and it's just I'm not, as you could see, I'm not really good at explaining this type of stuff because I don't do this very often. But I don't like when people do queen's gambit as much, and I don't accept it. I don't know. I've played so much queen's gambit when I was in high school. I just don't do it anymore. But what I do nowadays a lot of times is I'll just do, and I'm sorry if I'm making mistakes here. Like I said, I'm doing it in front of the camera, so it's kind of hard for me to follow and do it at the same time. But when I play for the light pieces, I'll just open up with the king's pawn, and then I go in and I just take out the knight here. They usually take out the knight here. A lot of times if I notice something different, if I notice, you know, something different, out of the ordinary, you know, they go here, I'll just go here to protect my knight. If they go here instead, you know, I'll just take this. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but now I'm anticipating that if they end up going here, that I'm going to be able to either take this right away, and then if he would even go for that, you know, I would probably come out here, and then he would have to be bound to either go here, or step back. And in either case, you know, I could try to snatch that knight. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. And like I said, part of the reason why I have the board is I can share this stuff with you, which is kind of cool. And you might be looking at this board with me and you're like, what in the world is he doing? Does he not know chess theory? Or is he that bad? But either way, I'm sharing. So no, usually what happens is I'll do this in most of my games. I'll just have they come out here, and then comes the dilemma. Okay, we know how to play this part. It's normal. If you end up going with the Ruy Lopez, all kinds of stuff can happen. There's books written on Ruy Lopez, which I don't do Ruy Lopez as much because it creates sort of an unusual game. Sometimes they continue development, sometimes they go for more aggressive movements, kind of like this, which, you know, if we take, then he takes here, and then now you have your pawn here, and then he might be able to come out, or there's this weakness that's created, plus your bishop now needs to run because, you know, your bishop's not really protected where it is. But here's the thing, I don't do Ruy Lopez. I sometimes bring the bishop out here, but what we forgot. I sometimes bring the bishop out here on the third move, but this is kind of an easy thing to block. I mean, if let's say they go here and you go here, all they have to do is go here, and you're kind of stuck. I mean, why'd you even bring your bishop out? You could go for the attack, but your queen's not open, so you can't really protect all your stuff here in the middle, and now your knight's kind of open out in the sides, so it sort of doesn't really work out really well for us, does it? So that's kind of where I am right here. A lot of times I end up going with this opening, just a typical opening. We exchange, and then I come out here, and then we kind of have a continuation of the game. I don't know. This is a lot of my games. Advice, you guys play chess. Let's shoot a comment below. What do you think? What do you think about this position? I'm sure you guys have played this from here. Where do you like to go? How much of an advantage is this type of position here? Does it work for you? Does it not work for you? I really personally don't like when I open this way. I mean, at least for me, sometimes start the game here and the opponent goes here, or the opponent goes here, and they start going for that Sicilian opening. And if you let them open with the Sicilian, for me, it's like, especially if I'm playing at night and I'm already kind of tired, it can be like and mind you, these are 10-minute games. Oh my God, I'm sitting there, I'm just like, my brain starts heating up because the position becomes semi-closed and it's complex and there's just so many variations, and it's cool because that's what chess is all about. It's finding the intricacies, but it's hard. So whenever I see something like this, oh boy, I try to break that off real quick. If usually they don't come out here, but if I see them come out here, I don't know, I immediately try to break the system apart in any way that I can, because I feel like, I need to get rid of this. I need to get rid of the infamous pawn structure. I just need to somehow make it work. But there is my little 50 cents on the actual chess stuff. Like I said, some of you guys might be watching it and you're like, what did I just see? Like, what kind of mess is he doing? But if you have a board like this, or you say, hey, what he just showed seemed to make sense, then maybe I want to do something like this. So maybe get yourself a board like this and do your own, videos. In fact, if you did have a board like this, or if you just had a regular chessboard, or if you just had a regular way of screenshotting your screen, you could create a channel, or if you already have a channel, you could post and say, this is what openings I like to do, or this is my analysis of your opening. And you can drop the link to your YouTube channel below and you can share. My channel is not very big. My channel is in fact pretty small, and then I don't get a lot of comments, which is fine too. But because here's the thing about some of the other channels, like you go to let's say Hikaru's or Gotham Chess, and he's got like a million subscribers, and every video he does, thousands of comments or whatever. People comment and nobody really even reads the comments because there's so many of them. And maybe they do, I don't know, but it's like, yes, they're great and they have a lot of followers and they have a lot of subscribers, but one thing that might be lacking in that situation is that if you say, hey, well, I saw your video and I think that, that pawn on D2 or whatever could have been improved by this and that, and you put your 50 cents into the comments, the other people who go to comment, they won't even read your comment because it's one of 2,000 comments or 3,000 comments, and it all sort of drowns in the great amount of comments that there are. And so you feel like, well, when I get only a handful of people commenting, those people comment on each other's comments sometimes, and somebody has a question, and if I don't get to it, maybe maybe somebody else will, and that way you could say, hey, I want to start a channel where you can post say, hey, I did an opening in my video, I talked about this. That's how chess community or any other community really is. That's what it's all about. It's about sharing. Obviously, if it's just random links to random stuff, they'd be, deleted or whatever. But if it's legitimate chess stuff, why not? Why not? So that's part of why I make these videos, so that I can encourage people. Now, I haven't really. I've read a lot of your comments, but I haven't responded much recently, just because it takes a lot of time to respond, and I've just been sort of like I said, with everything that's been going on, and just it's been hard to find that extra time to respond. But I still read your all's comments, and sometimes I don't read them right away, because I kind of feel like maybe somebody's out there is gonna be like, what is this garbage, or what is this? It's not like I have mind getting my feelings hurt. It's just, it is what it is. So sometimes I post a video and I'll only get to the comments later on, because I'm like, I'm gonna let the dust settle and get all the haters out there to write whatever they want to write, and then I'll be okay. But anyways, so that's about it. I was intending to make this video short, but I guess it ended up being a little bit longer. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you did, hit that like button, and be sure to stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye bye.